Great John Strickland. Hey, buddy.
What's going on?
All right, we've been talking about SEC quarterbacks per the top 10 quarterbacks in the country from Joel Klatt, and he's got 5 in there out of the league. So Mike, the Nussmeier, Sellers, Mateer, Lagway. Who am I missing? Nussmeier, Mateer.
Didn't say
Sellers, Lagway, and
Manning.
Those are his 5 out of the league. He asked, "Oh, there's Mike." Okay,
sorry about that.
It's okay. So you asked who would be. You asked the question.
Yeah, if you were to pick one SEC quarterback that's not listed in that top 5, who would it be?
Okay, I would personally, I would say Jackson Arnold because I like the fit, but that's today.
Yes,
I have a feeling. This is just a hunch.
Yep.
That based on the way things usually go with this guy, by the end of September, Austin Simmons would be in that list from Ole Miss.
That's my guy.
Okay. So I thought we were doing something.
Krager said Talon Green. Talon Green's a very popular choice. Some people are extremely high on him. He's got turnover issues. Would be my problem with Talon Green. I would take Arnold and Austin Simmons ahead of Green. And I think Austin Simmons by the end of the year in that offense with Lane doing what Lane does, I think Austin Simmons could be one of those guys when you look up at quarterback ratings and passing yards and all the other stats that go into it. Simmons has a chance to be special. I know they love him over there. He's already graduated. He's like a brilliant student. He's a 2-sport guy, really good baseball player who's kind of focused more on football. And I was there in Oxford for the drive. He came in for what Jackson Dart got dinged up. He came in one drive from like the 10-yard line, just marched the team down the field 90 yards for a key score in that game. And then Dart came back in. So I think Simmons has the potential to be one of those guys.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, Simmons, Arnold, and Reed at A&M, I think would
Marcel
be
Reed. Another solid choice, yeah.
It's a good one.
I think those would be my 3 that are outside of that top 5.
I like it.
This could be the deepest we've ever seen it in the SEC from quarterbacks. The Simmons thing is intriguing to me because they have a system. It's not like they're just going from one style of quarterback to a different style of quarterback. Like he might do some things a little bit differently, but they have a system in which they work in there. And he got to sit on the bench. John, you know all about. You can talk about it while I'm gone here. He got to sit on the bench all year last year and watch a first-round draft pick play football and just absorb. I think that's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, that Lane Kiffin system. It's a great offensive system. The only thing I see with Ole Miss this year is they lost so much. They lost so many players. So we'll see if they can reload them or not. I think is really the big question for the whole Ole Miss team, defense and offense. They just lost so many guys.
I think they take a step back on defense, losing a guy like Nolan. I do think they take a step back there. And I think they take a step back on offense as well. I just don't know how dramatic it's going to be. I'm just a big believer in Lane's system. And, they won't miss on another guy like Juice Wells last year, who was not exactly.
Circle September 27th.
Which one is that?
They've got LSU in town that weekend. Circle
Oh, yeah, I got that circled. Absolutely.
They got Georgia State at Kentucky, Arkansas, Tulane. I don't know if, Kentucky, Arkansas, what, who knows? I mean, they could be certainly 4-0. Might not be, but I think that that will be that game could be a big indicator as to are they maintaining? Are they stepping back a little bit? We'll see.
Can I tell you the most fascinating part of this conversation of it all is that we have named we went over Klatt's top 5. Then me, you, and Strick named another, 2 or 3?
3.
So that's 8.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves Pavia, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Talon Green for a second. Do you realize none of us have mentioned or even thought of the starting quarterback for the following 3 schools: Alabama, University of Georgia, University of Tennessee. Think about that. We have gone over half of the depth chart of quarterbacks in the SEC, and none of us probably even thought of the starting quarterbacks for Bama, Georgia, Tennessee.
I mean, I did. I didn't think of Tennessee, though, just because of the situation they're in. But I definitely thought of both Georgia and Alabama's quarterback. I just, Stockton's played in 2 games. So
Right.
he showed some grit in the second half of that SEC championship game, but just hadn't seen enough from him to, put him on those top 8.
Yeah, I'm not down on the kid. There's not enough there. And there's not enough of Ty Simpson, and there's not enough of Joey Aguilar in the SEC.
Honestly, there's not enough of Manning either, but his last name's Manning, so he's going to be put at the top of all these lists.
Yeah. Well, and physically speaking,
he's got the talent. There's no doubt. But until you get in and you play every week, starting quarterback in this league, you never
know what you don't know. Yeah. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that unfolds there too.
But he's got a bunch of talent around him, so that helps.
He does have that.
John, you're about to have a bunch of talent around me because I got to dip out of here and get to a school party with my kids. But Mike will steer this ship here, and then you got we got
the award-winning crosstalk with JC and Mad Dog.
You can deal with Phil and JC before.
I know they've got thoughts on this QB conversation.
Yeah, they ought to just jump on in here.
Oh, jump in, Phil.
Get it going.
Oh, they're welcome.
I'm here. I can jump in.
Phil's always lurking. He's always lurking.
He's always exactly. He's like a shark.
Yeah, that's right.
And New Smyrna Beach, amidst all the surfers, just you see that dorsal fin going around. That's Mad Dog. Is he hungry? Is he not? Is he feeling aggressive? Is he not? We don't know, but we're always aware he's lurking.
That's right.
Actually, I kind of miss us all in one big show like we always do Football Fridays during football.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
We're going to get some of that worked out this year. Don't worry. All right, I gotta go. See you, boys.
All right, boss.
All right,
see ya. Thank you very much. In this award-winning roundtable edition of ITG, presented in part by Golden Gate Mortgage and Troy Branham, will get you taken care of with the lowest mortgage rates you can possibly find on a new mortgage or a refi. 803-238-0111, 803-238-0111. We're talking about just golden people. We talk about Ryan Brewer in 1 hour and then Troy Branham in another hour. Strick, I know you know one of those guys very well. I'll bet you and Troy would get along great, especially after he saves you a bunch of money on a mortgage.
I've known Troy for 20
Oh, you
years.
know Troy too? Shoot.
Well,
Troy knows everybody.
You're in a group text with me and Troy as of
Oh, that's right.
And you did not reply at all. So I guess
that's my bad. That's my bad. What was he talking about? He was talking about our segment last week. He was commenting on something you said last week, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I was in the middle of something.
I've had a real estate license. I don't use it much anymore, but I used to just dabble around with it on the side for friends and stuff, and always send everybody to T-Roy.
You have a real estate license?
It's inactive, but yes.
So in addition to, rubbing shoulders and elbows with like billionaire oil tycoons, you also have a real estate license on the side.
Right, but I haven't bothered with it in years. But yeah, I used to dabble around here and there.
Man, Strick, you're a man of many talents.
He is true Renaissance man.
A true Renaissance man. No doubt about that. What's been on your mind? I don't know how much of the show you caught. We have been talking a lot of football. We just broke down some of the quarterbacking in the SEC, and then earlier at the top of the show, this whole thing. And I know you're tired of it. We're all tired of it. It all kind of makes our heads spin. The only good thing I can say is I think we're very close to finally getting the House settlement thing over with. We're going to have a new CEO dole out punishments now in college sports. It's not going to be the NCAA. It's going to be one person, basically, a 7-figure Turk that's going to go around and like lay down the law if you try to skirt the rules and beat the system. But what's on your mind today as we look at you and about 100 bottles of bourbon behind you?
Yeah, no, I kind of like that. The NCAA, I have no more respect for the NCAA, honestly, when it comes to this whole college landscape. They take their time, they do what they want on stuff, and they have no sense of urgency on anything. And the only time they do anything is when it's convenient for them. So I'm all about them, not having say-sos over stuff.
Yeah, whoever this new person is, at least we will actually know the name, right? It's not going to be like this invisible man or committee of people. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they're doing. We don't have any excuses as to why it takes 32 weeks to come down with a simple verdict on the eligibility of a player. This is going to be one, and maybe that part is still somewhat similar, but in the case of enforcement of how the money is doled out here, with this 20.5 million, like at least we've got somebody like who's accountable for it, and we'll know who he is, and we'll know who to be angry at if he comes down with a verdict.
Yeah.
When
that was really effective with the name Ward Manuel at the end of last season. So we'll see how effective that is. Just knowing a name.
Now, what was his favorite word during the playoff things?
There's no data points.
No
more data points.
Yeah. Sadly, that has not been improved. The College Football Committee is still going to have athletic directors, both present day and former, that are going to decide who the best teams are. But hopefully we can rectify that soon enough. When you were playing, I'm trying to remember, I get maybe like secondary violations under Lou. There wasn't anything major.
There was something small, nothing crazy.
Yeah, small potato stuff. So you never really were affected by any of that stuff.
I think it was something stupid that was just like a slap on the wrist.
What was like the dumbest rule that or limitation or rule or law or whatever as a college athlete that you maybe were like, wait a minute, I can't do this or I can't have that?
How about like a coach had to get stuff cleared to pay for his players to like come over to his house and have dinner and stuff?
That's right.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Like how ridiculous is that? Like it's your coach who you are with all the time, like a second father.
Right.
And you can't go have dinner at his house without NCAA approval?
Yeah, that was
I mean, what the hell?
Permissible benefit was what that would be labeled.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like that today, but it used to be like that back when I played.
Yeah, well, in 2002, when we went out to Omaha, Churchich, former Gamecock baseball player, invited us all out. We went to a driving range near his house. Him and his family did very well. I think they sold children's playground equipment. And we had a meal. It wasn't like the fanciest meal, but we had like a picnic over at his place. And I remember the NCAA got wind of that. And they're like, you can't do that. We're going to have to ding you for that. I was just like, this is so ridiculous. These kids just made it to the World Series. They can't have a meal and hit a few golf balls?
It's wild, man. That's why I just don't care for the NCAA so much. They come up with all these crazy rules. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Insane. So we're about 100 days away, give or take. How you feeling? What's the vibe right now in the John Strickland household?
I got a pretty good vibe. I think the wide receiving core is going to be much improved this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a couple of true freshmen that are going to help that out with depth. Obviously, the NCAA is dragging their feet on the face-on. We're sitting here talking about the NCAA. They'll get to it when they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we've already turned over everything to them here over the past 4 months and still nothing from them. I think Lenores is going to be a much improved passer. I think he's through this spring. I know they worked on him staying in the pocket, standing firm,
lower body.
Yep, trusting what he sees and his offensive line and getting the ball downfield. Replacing your center and two guards is always tough, especially the center. I mean, the center is like the gel of the offensive line. But I think we went out and got a good one out of the portal in Boaz Stanley. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's looking up. I think the one thing you worry about, defense losing so many pro guys. I mean, we lost a lot. Is it's not so much that we're not going to have talent like we had last year. It's I think you always have to look at like leadership, older guys. So I think, we're going to have some younger players. You're going to have a few older guys, but it's going to be a younger defense. But the talent's there. The talent's there on this defense to have a really good defense. It's just all going to come down to, the mental and the leadership of the team.
Yeah, JC has been saying that this defense is going to come in considerably younger, but has the argument to actually be more athletic and potentially better at the end of the year. You share that same thought, I would assume then because when you look at it, these guys are very athletic. You got a lot of speed still back there. And with the pieces you do have returning, you've got solid options.
Yeah, and some of the portal guys you brought in are just fantastic players. Now you got to make it all gel, right? You got to get it all together. You got to have some leadership on that thing to make that thing gel. But yeah, when I went out and watched, some of the spring practices, I mean, I felt good. Felt good about it. Talent looks really good. Looks really good. It's just all about, that defense last year was just so old, and you like that old veteran presence because that directly reflects the leadership of a football team. So now this defense is younger, but the talent's there. I mean, the talent's there. It's just you got to put everything together.
The thing I keep coming back to is how do you get the productivity or close to it? I don't know if it's realistic to expect. You're talking about replacing a guy who was Defensive Player of the Year in Kyle Kennard. How do you get that type of threat on the other side to take some of the pressure off of Dylan Stewart? I mean, there's a lot of teams in this league that have a really good hell-raising defensive end, but not so many have two. That's what Carolina had last year, and we know what an advantage that was. You couldn't just game plan one guy. So who takes over that role, and how effective are they? To me, that's one of the biggest questions.
I mean, I think we got a couple of guys, Mike. I think here's what's got to happen. What Stewart had 5.5 sacks last year. I think we need Stewart to take over and be that Kyle Kennard. All right, he has this experience. Got his 13 games in last year. He's been around now. He's played a lot of football. So we need him to take that next step and be that Kyle Kennard. But then we got to have one of these other 2 or 3 guys that have the potential to step up and be that Dylan Stewart of last year and contribute and get those 5 or 6 sacks. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm, sure.
So that's what we need. And I think the depth over there, we have it. We have it. I mean, we saw some flashes of some of the guys last year, of the younger guys that came in and played. What's going to be really interesting to me is the linebacker play. I think the talent is there, maybe even better than last year. It's just going to be about the experience, the leadership, because your linebackers are kind of your core of your defense. So that's the one I'm looking at the most. But that's just me. That's what I'm looking at for this defensive team.
What's the best positional battle that you'll be looking at when we're talking in August, which will be here before you know it? What's the best positional battle on either side of the ball?
I think it's going to be your guards on the offensive line. Yeah, I think there's four guys that any 4 of them could earn that starting spot. I think there's some good competition there. I think most other places, I mean, the defensive tackle spot, I think you got 4 guys there too. But I think it's going to be, from what I saw from the spring, I think there's 3 or 4 guys at that defensive tackle spot that'll be like what we had last year with those 4 guys we had at D tackle, that it didn't matter who was in there. They all were playing at a high level. Didn't matter who started this game or that game. It's basically like, all right, we got 4, maybe 5 guys who can all play this position at any point. We're all starters. Just some of us may go on the field first. So I think you got that in some of the defensive tackles. So when it gets a D tackle, I really don't like saying starter because those guys rotate in a good bit. And we've seen it here over the past 2 or 3 years with our defensive tackles.
That's what the good teams can do.
Yeah, you need 4 to 5 guys who you can plug in at any point and hold their own. And if we can get that, I mean, we got some guys. We got some guys this year. So I don't know, but I really think those guard spots are like your battle. I think those 2 guard spots is like, all right, who wants it? Who's going to win it?
Yeah. Did you like as a player, like I remember all the pomp and circumstance surrounding the 2001 opener against Mississippi State? Obviously, that was special on multiple levels. Did you like playing a quality opponent like a Virginia Tech in this case, as opposed to just playing New Mexico State in week 1? Did you have a preference?
Yeah, I would like to play a Power 4.
You don't want a tune-up game. You don't need a tune-up game.
I mean, even though like the East Carolinas, I mean, they weren't good last year, but over the years they've always been a very solid team playing in the postseason. That one was always a fun one too because it's a North Carolina school, and so that was fun too. But man, yeah, I love it when we play North Carolina, NC State, now Virginia Tech. I'm all for it. I like the big games to start it out because you know what, that one game if you drop it's not going to kill you. It's just not because there's 11 more games to go. But I think it kind of shows maybe where your team is at and where you think they can trend for the rest of the year, getting better. So I don't know. I'm kind of all about the big game. I think it's cool that it's in Atlanta like we've done Charlotte in the past, but man, I would love to somehow get an 8 home game and trade off a home and away instead of a neutral site.
Yeah. That's where a lot of, I think, coaches are. I mean, I don't know, like Texas, Oklahoma, I could always see being neutral site.
That's never going to change.
That's never going to change. There have been some people that have wanted to take Florida, Georgia out of Jacksonville. Kirby Smart's one of them. It's just like, what are we doing here? We're taking away 2 incredible
we're driving.
home games.
We're driving 5.5 hours. Well, we're not, but our fans are driving.
Right.
Even though, God, Jacksonville's so close to the Georgia border, but I get it. If you got fans, it still doesn't matter, though. I mean, if you got Florida fans down in Miami, that's a long-ass drive.
Oh, absolutely. And as you know,
that's 5 hours.
There's Georgia fans all over the place. Like I always get a kick out of like when announcers say, "Oh, the fan base had a long drive from," like the fan bases of SEC schools are all over the place. They're not just located in one city. Not every Tennessee fan resides in Knoxville. In fact, probably a lot more of them in Nashville than there is.
There's a ton of Bulldog fans down in Savannah and Brunswick.
Oh, no doubt.
Are just right down the road from Jacksonville.
Yeah. I think a lot of people with that game, they're just, regardless of the commute, are just like, wouldn't it be cool to have that game between the hedges and in the swamp?
It would.
You know,
I would. And that's one game I've been to a lot as a child growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, from Bainbridge, Jacksonville's 3.5 hours.
Right.
So we used to cruise over to the cocktail party. I mean, my parents have been going to it since the 70s, early 70s. Right? My mom and dad used to go over there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, with all their friends. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a cool game. But, yeah, I mean, I'm all about playing at home and at away stadiums versus neutral sites.
It's the one. I mean, the one advantage, I guess, in the case of Carolina, Virginia Tech, is that if that is a week 1 game, well, it probably wouldn't be a week. Let's just say hypothetically it is a week 1 game in Blacksburg. I don't know if you get the exposure that you're going to get. You don't. As a standalone in Atlanta, the people that run those kickoff classics here, they do a really good job. It's very well supported. So I'm not sure if that game happens under the same umbrella.
If the game's here in Williams-Brice, it's an ESPN ABC game, no doubt. So it's going to get all the hoopla. But when you put it on a Sunday in Atlanta on national TV on ABC at the 3:00 time slot of Labor Day weekend to kick it off on Sunday. It brings a lot more exposure.
Which helps in recruiting and just kind of continuing to build that brand that is Gamecock football. Nothing builds it better than winning, but yeah, I mean, believe it or not, that Sunday will be the first time a lot of fans have seen Lenore's Sellers. If you're just not a diehard Carolina,
I think some
or even
people
SEC
caught on to in the last 3 or 4 games of this.
They did. They've seen the clips, and but like this will be the first time. The people that I know, they have no interest in that game. They'll sit there for 3.5 hours and watch every snap,
right?
Because it's a standalone on a Sunday. But let's see what this kid's all about. Like I saw the clips, the highlights against Clemson. I want to see that all about, and then they'll learn more about where Gamecock football as a whole is headed. So I mean, I do like it from an exposure standpoint. I think there are some good things, and I would imagine that in that. I want to say dome. Sometimes they leave the roof open. I want to say at the Benz, there'll be at least 60-65% Carolina fans. I'm just guessing. It's not a knock on Virginia Tech. I'm just, having lived in Atlanta now for 15 years, and you know this, Strick, there are a ton of South Carolina fans here. There's a
ton of Gamecock fans that live in the state of Georgia.
Yeah,
there's a ton. I mean, you can drive through Georgia. I mean, you can even get a South Carolina license plate in Georgia, like a Gamecock.
See them all the time.
Yeah,
see them all the time. So I would imagine the crowd will be a little bit partial to the Gamecocks. I think you'll hear that if you're watching it on TV. It'll come through on the screen, depending on
100%. Yeah,
of course,
I think so.
JC will be one of the people that's there. I don't know if he'll be cheering or sober or.
What are we talking about?
I got until Friday to request my tickets, so I don't know. We haven't decided if we're going or not.
You haven't decided if you're going, Strick.
I know. I usually go to every away game, but it's Labor Day weekend. We usually go to the lake, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I can't argue with lake logic is good logic where I come from, so I don't. For sure. I'm not going to fault you for that. Well, we know JC will be there. Talking about week 1, JC at the Benz.
Phil.
Yep. We will be there. Yeah. I've got my room booked, ready to go.
I got to take he and his wife to Johnny's Hideaway.
Oh, heck yeah.
They've never been.
Yes.
And maybe the Claremont Lounge as well.
Oh, those are 2 different experiences.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
But I've known Dina a long time, and she'll dig both of them.
Right.
Phil, it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think we're coming in like on Thursday or so. Trying to get a flight. So I'm not about to request my tickets through the Gamecock Club, though, because I'm not a member.
Well, I can get them for you, and I can get you club seats if you want them.
Uh-oh. We're making deals already on the crossover.
Wheeling and dealing, huh?
Text me after the show.
All right, bud.
Nice.
What'd y'all talk about today? I've been covered up.
Oh, you missed it all?
Oh, yeah. We hit a little bit of everything.
Some quarterback rankings in the league, a little South Carolina football, what we think the biggest position battles. I guess me and you agree on something. Phil said you feel the same way, that I feel like this defense has just as much or more talent. But, it's young, and you worry about the leadership of the team versus what you've had last year with all those old guys. You knew the leadership, so we were talking about stuff like that.
That's important, yeah. I think looking around at other schools and other teams, though, everybody's saying, oh, yeah, we're young because all the COVID guys are gone now. And so, we'll see what happens. I think there's a lot of question marks, but the good news is there's talent. I also looked at what they lost from 2011 to 2012. I've dug into that. Found out there were 5 NFL offensive linemen starting for that team too, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, all these guys played the NFL. But on defense, man, it was Byron Gerardo and a young Kelsey Quarles were the tackles. Aldrich Fordham and I believe a freshman JT Surratt were the backups. Surratt didn't play. You had Taylor and Clowney on the edges, but no backups. It was like Chad said. And the previous team had lost Melvin Ingram, Alshon Jeffrey, and Stephon Gilmore. And Antonio Allen.
Yeah, they did all right?
Yeah, all those guys were pretty good.
Not bad.
And nobody was panicking over who the fourth team D tackle was back then. And the game hadn't changed that much.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. I don't want to say that I think the defense is going to be as good as last year's because they had a lot of big plays and took over some games. But I think it's a chance to be because I think statistically last year's defense, it wasn't like they shut everybody down. You know, there were games they had to outscore people for sure. So
for sure. But I think last year's D only gave up about 17, 16 points a game.
What all said and done,
they're pretty salty.
Yeah. So, but I think the offense is going to improve this year, in my opinion. So,
no. And I think the big thing is this too. I'll leave with this. I am confident this defense will be able to defend the pass in the secondary and rush the passer.
Yeah.
What you worry about is, are they going to be able to stop the run and get to those obvious passing downs? Because if I'm another team and you're weak on run defense, I want to keep 16 off the field. No better way to do that than to just run the ball.
Right. Well, that's what I just brought up right before you got on is the linebackers and the D tackles. I think, you know, it's just kind of unknown for us right now.
Yeah.
JC, we Strick referenced it on the Love Chevy drive around the SEC. Mr. Klatt, your boy, picked his top 10 quarterbacks, 5 from the SEC.
Yeah, he got clowned for that on social media.
Sellers, Nussmeier, Manning, Lagway, and Mateer. So my question for you is a guy not on that list that you would put on that list from the SEC.
Austin Simmons.
See, that was my guy.
Yeah.
That was my guy.
Was Diego Pavia not on there?
Nope.
Well, I mean, it depends on what we're talking about. We're talking about college players or guys that are going to get drafted.
Just college players. There's no NFL draft stock, none of that stuff.
As far as just like a great college quarterback.
Yeah, he did some unbelievable stuff.
Pretty solid. I mean, pretty solid.
He was terrific. The question is, will he be able to double up, do it again?
That's a good question. You know, Vandy's interesting because it's kind of a round robin. South Carolina plays Virginia Tech. The next week, Virginia Tech plays Vandy. The next week, Vandy plays South Carolina.
Yeah.
So we're going to know a lot about Vanderbilt early.
Vanderbilt's got to go to Columbia. They got to go to Tuscaloosa in a revenge game.
The
Tide.
And they got to go to Blacksburg, too, in week 2. It's not easy. They're still playing Enter Sandman up there. Metallica played a concert a couple weeks ago.
Their over-under is 5.5 in Vegas. Vanderbilt. A lot of love for Vanderbilt.
They're hard, dude. If they're executing, geez, and they got Stowers back, and they have they got some offensive linemen out of the portal. They have some defensive players that are returning. I think they'll be just like last year. I just don't think teams are going to take them as lightly, like your Auburns and Kentuckys of the world. Just kind of rolled in there and thought they were going to win, and those were not good football teams. They got cut.
What else is on your mind for today?
Well, we're going to talk about kicking Tennessee out of the SEC.
That's right. They're gone.
We're going to play
You're
a game.
done.
We kind of took a page from the JC5 on JC and Morgan, and we're going to put Mad Dog on the spot.
Okay.
Like either or questions.
It's a hot seat, Mad Dog. I'm just warning you.
I know.
JC
I'm going in cold, too. Yeah.
That's the best way to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like ripping off the Band-Aid.
No limit to the topics on that either.
I like that.
It could be off topic or on topic. Going to talk about size at receiver. Somebody pointed it out today on 107.5 Stone to Bill Gunner, and about the 6. There are bigger receivers on this team, but it is a focus in recruiting. So there's 2 potential guys kind of on the list. One's visiting in a couple of weeks from Virginia, so we'll talk about that. Going to try to avoid baseball.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to 5:30 today.
You know, it should be over quick.
Yeah, I kind of said what I was going to say. Like, if there's no move that's going to be made, and you're not going to change pitching coaches, just keep it all together, go spend money, and see what happens. So, I mean, go buy a team. Remember that old commercial? We're going to throw money at the problem.
That's right.
Throw money at the problem. Go do it. Stranger things have happened. So, yeah, we got all that, and then lots of fun. And the new King of the Hill is released Sunday, and I have to go to a party, so we'll probably catch that Monday on the flip side, right?
That show's still on the air?
No, it's a revival. They're bringing it back and setting it in modern times, like
Strickland propane, baby.
That's right, propane. Yeah, El Corporate. But man, it's yeah. So
Is Mike Judge still involved?
Yeah, Mike Judge still involved.
Yeah.
Damn it, Bobby. It's so Bobby's apparently a 21-year-old sous chef now.
I like this already.
And so I saw a card. Dale had virtual reality glasses on.
That's
be good. I mean, we talked about the conspiracy theory that Bobby's not really Hank's son, that he's Bill's son because they look alike, and Hank talks about having a narrow urethra. So there's some validity there. So we'll probably get into that. The important topics.
Mike Judge is brilliant. Office Space still holds up today. Still holds up. Yes. Just a brilliant movie on so many levels. I don't know if it sold 7 tickets at the box office, but it's just a cult classic now. If it's on, you're watching.
Awesome.
You're watching. All right.
All right, fellas.
Strick, always a pleasure, my man. Appreciate it. Hey, you don't know the Leitner brothers, do you, from Mid-State Roofing, too? Or you got a group chat with them?
I do not know them. Sorry.
Okay. All right. We finally found somebody you don't know. Because you are the mayor.
He knows everybody.
He knows everybody. The 6 degrees
mayor.
of John
We
Strickland.
should start calling him the mayor.
Start calling him mayor. Mayor John.
The mayor of Columbia.
The mayor of Columbia.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's awesome. We look forward to having you on again next week, Strick. Appreciate
All right, guys.
it.
Enjoy it. Y'all have a good
Thanks,
day.